Hey, tried to go live on YouTube, but for whatever reason, can't go live on YouTube from our mobile app right now, for whatever reason. So we'll do it here on TikTok instead. Beautiful June night. My last Friday night off, Friday and Saturday night off for a while. Be working the next couple months probably on Friday and Saturday night. So had a couple bonfires going, well, campfires, whatever, going. Thought it'd be a great time to tell some ghost stories from my grandpas. Start with the only one I have from one of my grandpas. He was, we were setting tobacco at a place that, you know, was just kind of creepy. Real creepy old farm. Can't really say a whole lot about it. I was just a kid. Everything's changed now, but when you're setting tobacco, if you don't know anything about it, you know, you have to put water in tanks, and that water runs through the machine and goes into the ground as you're setting the tobacco. As those things come around and catch the tobacco, and puts it in the ground. And every time that thing turns over, it shows water into the ground along with the plant, you know, so that there's water going to the roots. Well, we were refilling up everything, and my grandpa and the guy that was working with us, he had to go down to the spring to fill up the tanks on the old tobacco setter. And while they were down there filling it up, they watched two little girls come from nowhere. They were nowhere around. There's no houses around. I mean, miles around. And what looked like they were wearing wedding dresses. Not, you know, or dresses that they would wear to weddings. Maybe not like the bride's gown, but like little white dresses. Look like maid of honor dresses or something, you know, to go with a wedding. Like I said, no churches around. This is in the middle of the afternoon. It's broad daylight. And those little girls was headed right straight for them. And they had to walk by them to get by them. And they stood there and watched those little girls, and they just kind of disappeared. They couldn't figure out what they were. But when they came back to the rest of us, they were white as ghosts. Solid white, my grandpa was. Asked him what he'd seen, what was wrong, and nothing. Wouldn't say anything at all. Then later on, the guy that was with him told it, that they'd seen those two little girls wearing what looked like wedding dresses, coming down the road, skipping and playing and laughing. And there was nowhere for those kids to have came from. We're out in the middle of nowhere, out in the boonies. And it's the only ghost story I have from that grandpa. Now the other grandpa, he has many interesting stories. One of them was, you know, they would walk to revivals at night and to church at night. And on the way back, there was this old abandoned house out in the Pisgah area of Wayne County. And no one lived in it. There was no electricity out there, nothing. It was totally abandoned. But there would be a light on inside the house. Now, mind you, there was no electric running to that house, and the house was abandoned. So, where was that light coming from? But he said it would always spook the time out of them when they walked by that old house sitting there next to the road. Because there'd always be a light on in the window. And no one lived there. No electricity. So, what was giving off that light? I reckon one night they went up to the window and peeked in to see what they could see. And it was just as bright as daylight in there. But they couldn't see the source of the light. That's pretty creepy. They also claimed that old-time fiddle and banjo music would be playing, like a radio, at this house. but they couldn't really tell where it was coming from. It was like it was all around them. But there was, like I said, no radio. No nothing there. Strange, huh? One night, my grandpa's brother, his car broke down there and stalled. He thought he ran out of gas or something. So he locked up the car, rolled up the windows, locked up the car, and walked home. The next morning they went, took gas back to get the car. The car wasn't out of gas. The car started up just fine, even though it wouldn't the night before. And something else was strange. He knew he locked and rolled up all the windows and locked the doors. The doors was unlocked on the car. Very strange. What do you think about that? Have you had any strange tales, any weird things happen to you? Tell you one about my mom. We got a few minutes left here. Now, I had never heard of this happening to anyone else, but I was listening to a podcast. It's either on the Confessionals or the Michael Deacon podcast or Tinfoil Hat podcast. Those are my favorite podcasts, by the way. Shout out to Tony Merkel. He's awesome. But Michael Deacon, I like his program too. Pretty sarcastic. He's crazy. Tinfoil Hat, that's a pretty good one too. I like it. But anyway, now I heard this a while back about loved ones appearing to other loved ones when they pass. Now, I heard this on this podcast, and it was like really strange. And the woman was trying to wake up her partner, boyfriend, husband, whatever he was, girlfriend, whatever her partner was. She's trying to wake him up. And this dead person appeared, in the room, and basically told him goodbye, and everything's gonna be okay. I can't remember the full gist of the story because it brought me back to the time when my great grandpa Guffey passed away. When he passed away, my mom said he appeared at the foot of the bed, and she smacked and beat and screamed at my dad trying to wake him up and couldn't wake him up. And that's the same thing that this lady said about her partner. She couldn't wake him up. So, when the person was standing at the foot of the bed. I reckon Grandpa, when she seen what she seen or thought it was Grandpa or whatever, I reckon he was just from the waist up. She said he didn't have no legs, but he was as solid and real as if he was standing there in broad daylight. To her, he wasn't translucent, he wasn't see-through or anything like that, or looked like the Force Ghost off Obi-Wan Kenobi or something. He Star Wars or whatever. He looked solid and real, and just appeared from the waist up and was standing at the foot of the bed and told her to take care of his wife, her grandma, and told her he loved her or whatever. I know he told her to take care of your grandma, and that's all basically said. And he faded away. And as he faded away, Mom was still slapping Dad, and the phone rings, and it was her mom calling to tell her that her dad had died. That my great grandfather had passed away. As he was fading out, just fading into non-existence. Right there in front of her eyes. She's smacking Dad, trying to get Dad to wake up, and the phone rings. What do y'all think about that? Pretty wild, huh? Not something I want to encounter. Y'all have a great evening. Enjoy this beautiful summer weather. It's awesome. Thanks for watching.